Mr. Akras, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Good morning. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's AM docket. Today is Thursday, March 12th, 2020. The board will be considering regular items, new transfer expansions, and hardships. When your case is called, please step forward to the microphone and state your name clearly in the microphone. If you're going to be providing testimony, please be prepared to be sworn in. I would ask at this time, if you have a phone or other electronic device, that you silence it or shut it off. If I may, Mr. Chair, can I start with a preliminary matter?
Yes, please.
This will be Courtney Wheeler, 1606 Whetstone Way, licensee LLC. Trading as trade name pending, 1606 is an application of transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment, outdoor table service, and a request for off-premise catering. There was a request by the attorney to move this case to the afternoon.
That's fine.
Is there any member from the public community association that is present for this case?
It'll be called at 1 o'clock then.
Thank you. Calling the first case, Wharf Hotel LLC, trading as Canopy Baltimore Harbor Point, 1215 Willis Street. There's an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor hotel motel license under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages 12904C, which allows the board to issue a license for use by a hotel or motel that has a dining room with serving facilities for 125 people, at least 100 rooms, and a capital investment of $500,000, requesting live entertainment, outdoor table service, and off-premise catering.
Good morning. Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg, Martin, Greenberg here on behalf of the applicant. I have with me Elizabeth Brainard and Colby Richardson, who are our two licensee applicants. Mr. Richardson is the Baltimore City licensee applicant, as well as Ryan Schaffner, who will be the executive chef.
Would you folks raise your right hands, please?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Ms. Hecker?
With your permission, I'll proceed by way of a proffer, and I've handed up folders with some exhibits that I'll walk through.
Okay.
This is an application for a new Class B hotel license for use at the new Canopy by Hilton Hotel to be located at Wills Wharf in Harbor Point. Harbor Point, as I'm sure you know, is a 27-acre mixed-use project under development by Beatty Development right now. It used to be a chrome ore processing facility. It's undergone a $110 million cleanup effort, and Beatty Development is now doing a $1 billion redevelopment of this area. The Wills Wharf building, where the proposed hotel is going to be located, is the fourth building to be constructed at Harbor Point. The file that I've handed up includes an aerial photo showing the Harbor Point area. The Wills Wharf Hotel and office building is located towards the waterfront. The hotel will be located in the top 4 floors of the Wills Wharf building. The building also includes 236,000 square feet of office space. They've signed up 2 tenants at this point, Jellyfish, which is a digital marketing agency, as well as WeWork, the co-working office space company. A copy of the Wills Wharf leasing brochure is also included in the file.
Can I just stop you, because I'm curious. So I'm not aware of other office buildings that have hotel space in them, are there?
That is a good question. I'm not sure that there are any in Baltimore. There are in other cities. I've seen a couple proposed, but none that have come to fruition. We worked with a developer who was working on the News American site several years ago, and that was proposed to have both office and hotel components, but that one never got off the ground. This one is, in fact, mostly built. They're planning to open the hotel in May of this year. The Canopy by Hilton brand, I've included a brochure from some of their marketing materials in the file. It's an upper upscale brand, sort of below Waldorf Astoria, but above the traditional Hilton or Embassy Suites. As I said, it's currently being built out. It's mostly completed now. The hotel will have 156 rooms, as well as a first floor lobby and waterfront restaurant. It sits on the top 4 floors of the building, which is a total of 12 stories, which, as I said, includes the office space. I've included a floor plan showing the hotel in the file as well, which, as you'll see from also the renderings that are there, it takes some of its inspiration from the local Fells Point neighborhood. Canopy by Hilton is a brand that really focuses on local elements. There's an article from the BBJ as well in the file that talks a little bit about the local touches that they've included. One of those local touches includes a partnership with local restaurateur Tony Foreman for the hotel restaurant. It's still in a little bit of a concept phase. There's a conceptual menu included in the file. Mr. Schaffner, who's here today, will be the executive chef. The proposed restaurant will operate from 6:30 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily. The hotel is also proposing to offer live entertainment in the form of DJs and small bands. The total cost of the Wills Wharf building is about $117 million, of which $20 million are for hotel facilities. There's a capital investment breakdown in the file. You'll see the furniture, fixtures, and equipment budget for the hotel alone is $6.3 million. We expect that the hotel and the restaurant together will create approximately 68 full-time equivalent jobs. The hotel will be managed by Donahoe Hospitality Services. Ms. Brainerd, who is here today, will be the hotel's general manager. She was most recently the general manager of the Hotel Revival in Mount Vernon here in Baltimore. Everyone in the hotel who serves alcoholic beverages will be tip certified. With regard to the requirements for the Class B hotel license, there will be minimum dining facilities for serving meals to at least 125 individuals. The floor plans show a 150-person seating plan, as well as 22 seats at the bar and 36 seats on the outdoor dining terrace facing the waterfront. The hotel contains at least 100 rooms. There are a total of 156 rooms in the hotel, and we meet the capital investment requirement of $500,000. We greatly exceed that with a $6.3 million furniture, fixtures, and equipment budget. The individual licensee applicants who are with us today, Mr. Richardson and Ms. Brainerd, are both authorized individuals of Wills Wharf Hotel, LLC. Mr. Richardson has been the operations manager for the Foreman Wolf Restaurant Group for over 6 years. He oversees the operation of 6 restaurants for that group. Ms. Brainerd has 14 years in the hotel hospitality industry. They are both familiar with the rules and regulations of the City Liquor Board and agree to abide by them. There is a public need and desire for the license. The ability to serve alcoholic beverages in connection with the hotel provides an amenity to the hotel's patrons and the dining experience of their customers. There are a couple of other licensed establishments in Harbor Point. This is the first hotel that will be located over there. We expect that the hotel's guests will patronize other restaurants and create a great synergy in the area. But it does create a uniqueness of services being the only hotel in Harbor Point. We don't expect there to be any negative impact on general health, safety, and welfare of the surrounding community. Certainly the hotel guests will be the first to notice if there is any type of bad operation. It's certainly in our interest to maintain a high-quality, first-class operation at this location. So for these reasons, we would request that the board approve the issuance of the Class B license. We're certainly happy to answer any questions that you might have.
So you said, who's going to manage the alcohol?
Ms. Brainerd will be the hotel general manager.
Okay, and so all of your people who are doing it are going to be tip certified, you said? Okay, and you've got experience in managing alcohol establishments from the other hotel? Okay, and how long were you there?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was at Hotel Revival for 2 years in the pre-opening phase and a year after they opened.
Okay. And when will this operation, when is this going to be?
The opening day is scheduled for May 5th.
Oh, okay. Commissioners?
None. I don't have any questions.
Well, that makes it easy. Okay.
I like
Thank
it.
you. All right, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application, the extensive proffer from council and all of the exhibits which have been introduced and will be received in evidence as part of that package, I would, and as well as the testimony received, I'd vote to approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor hotel motel license with live entertainment, outdoor table service, and off-premise catering.
I concur with the chair.
I would vote to approve the new Class B license with live entertainment, outdoor table service, and off-premise catering. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
I call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, business plan.
Calling next case, M&M Partners LLC, trade name pending, 15 East Center Street. This is an application to transfer ownership with a continuation of live entertainment, request for off-premise catering.
Good morning, Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant. Nice to see you all.
Good morning. Would you gentlemen raise your right hands, please?
I will affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Mr. Fogelman?
Thank you. Good morning. I have here with me Mr. Mark Hayes to my immediate left and Mr. Michael Palmisano next to him. They are taking over the license at Flavor, which was a restaurant at that address and licensed prior to these applicants coming in. They want to continue to have a restaurant with a bar, and we do have a memorandum of understanding that was reached between the Mount Vernon Belvedere Improvement Association and the M&M Partners LLC. So let me go ahead and forward those to you at this time. Unfortunately, I was, for not whatever reason, I was not on the email chain with MVBA and the applicants, and thus we would have had more copies if I was. Additionally, the license currently has language on it on the bottom that says no music of any type in the yard and no music to emanate from inside to outside. Licensed premises may remain open after 2 a.m. for the purpose of serving foods to patrons seated at tables for dining. So I was forwarded a copy of the MOU that's been signed, you're holding, and said this looks fine, it looks great. And so everybody signed it. And now I find out that there is a amendment to the MOU that's expected by both sides to be signed. And that amendment talks about being able to stay open till 5 a.m. And that is with the service of food from 2 to 5. So what I would ask you before we get into the meat of the case is that you hear the elements today that you're required to hear, that you approve the transfer, but perhaps hold in abeyance this amended MOU in order to possibly put the license onto the language on the current license onto the new one.
So let me understand. The license that's being transferred has a requirement has a limitation on the allowance of live entertainment?
It does not. It has a music being able to emanate outside and no outdoor music.
So it's a sound
right.
limitation.
And then the second part, or the second sentence in that, is that they're able to remain open to serve food to patrons seated at tables for dining from 2 a.m., after 2 a.m.
And this amended MOU is going to extend that to 5 a.m.?
That was my understanding with my clients. Mr. Palmisano, come forward, applicant Palmisano.
It wouldn't be that we would stay open till 5. It would be for special occasions like Pride and New Year's that we would be able to serve food after we close at 2 a.m.
Okay. Is that going to be a problem?
So they're making the request under Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-2007 B, which allows for a Class B beer, wine, liquor license to open after 2 a.m. For the purposes of serving food only. So this is a request that the board may consider.
And so I would ask you to consider it once you receive an amended MOU and cover letter from.
So you don't want us to rule on the transfer?
I would love for you to rule on all of our requests today, but if you feel more comfortable waiting until the amendment arrives, then.
Is that going to arrive today?
Yes, to our knowledge, the association is working on sending a test today.
Do you want us to hold this till later?
I just don't know that it's going to be in by 1 o'clock. That's the only concern there.
Mr. Chair, if I may, if the board wants to consider just the transfer application, it can consider and approve the transfer application, and the applicant by letter can make the request to the board to extend those hours of operation to 5 a.m.
You want to do it that way?
I will. So you'll expect from me an amendment and a cover letter explaining our request. And thank you very much, Mr. Eckers.
Tell me about Mr. Hayes and Mr. Palmisano and their background and how they're going to handle the alcohol.
Sure. Mr. Hayes, do you want to start?
Sure. What questions do you have?
Sure. So basically,
I've been managing the Grand Central nightclub for about the past 15 months, and before that, I've been in the restaurant business for 20 to 25 years. I was with Timothy Dean Restaurant here in Baltimore in all its manifestations, as well as with him in D.C., as well as worked in D.C. for 20 years in the restaurant business as well.
So you're going to be the manager here?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your involvement, Mr. Palmisano?
An owner and controlling of promotions, marketing, and events.
Okay. But you're not going to be handling alcohol?
Mostly it's going to be Mark will be handling management of alcohol. That's correct.
Okay. And you'll be hiring others?
Yes.
And they'll be tip certified?
Definitely.
Okay. And are they in agreement that the terms of any MOU will be a limitation on the license?
yes, they are. Both licensees, applicants have signed.
Okay. Commissioners?
Mr. Palmisano, you currently live in Lynchburg, Virginia?
correct.
Are you planning to move?
I'll be moving after the purchase of the property. I'll be back here in Baltimore full-time.
Great, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. So then, on the basis of the materials contained in the application and the exhibits received and proffers and testimony received, I would vote to approve the transfer of the license with live entertainment and off-premise catering, subject to the terms of whatever finalized amended memorandum of understanding is presented to the board, to the extent that the terms are enforceable by law.
I concur with him, the chair.
I vote to approve the transfer with the continuation of live entertainment and off-premise catering, subject to the terms of the MOU in its final form, to the extent they're enforceable by law.
Thank you very much.
Could you give this to Stacy, please?
I call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, MOU.
Calling the next case, TOG Kona Baltimore LLC, trading as Kona Grill, 1 East Pratt Street, Suite 103. There's an application to transfer ownership of a Class B beer, wine, liquor license.
Counsel?
Good morning, Leanne Schreckengoss with Royston Muller McLean and Reed here on behalf of the applicants.
And would you raise your right hand, sir, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Ms. Schreckengoss?
If it's okay with the board, I would like to proceed by the way of proffer. As indicated, we're here for a transfer of the Kona Grill liquor license. The Kona Grill is located on Pratt Street. The license will be transferred from Kona Baltimore, Inc. to TOG Kona Baltimore LLC. The TOG stands for The One Group. The One Group is an experienced hospitality industry operator of restaurants and lounges. They also provide management services to hotels, casinos, and high-end venues. They've been in existence since 2004. They are taking over this restaurant, and there is no change in the day-to-day operation of the restaurant. The employees are staying the same, which there are currently 57 employees, and they utilize the TIPS program for their alcohol awareness training. Again, like I said, no change in the floor plan, the operations, or requests of any sort before the board. Mr. Loy, could you please tell the board what your role and responsibilities are with the One Group?
Yes.
Yes, he was sworn in. State your full name and address for the record.
Sure. Tyler Loy. My address is 5092 Trenton Street in Denver, Colorado, 80238. My role is I'm CFO of the One Group.
And has any of your personal information changed since the time we filed this application?
No.
No felony convictions or violations of the alcoholic beverage laws or gambling laws?
No.
And the proffered information that I provided about the restaurant is accurate? And you've received a copy of this board's rules and regulations?
I have.
You understand that as a licensee, you would have to answer to this board should any violations occur here?
I do.
Thank you very much. And with respect to Ms. White, the current licensee, she's the current existing resident licensee. She has not, she's been a licensee in Baltimore City for the past 7 years. She's well aware of her responsibilities as the resident licensee. She continues to be a registered voter and a taxpayer of the city. None of her information has changed since the time this application was filed.
Mr. Loy has experience in managing?
Yeah, so I've been in the restaurant industry for the past 15 years, working in both in front of the house operations as well as on the corporate side. So used to work for McCormick and Schmick Seafood restaurants based out of Portland, Oregon, along with Einstein Brothers Bagels, and now with the One Group.
And this is, they're purchasing the assets out of bankruptcy?
That is correct.
So the original owners had to file for reorganization?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Questions?
No.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, proffers from counsel and testimony received, I'd vote to approve the transfer of the license.
I also vote to approve the transfer of the license.
I vote to approve the transfer of ownership. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you, appreciate
Thank you very
it.
much.
No exhibits.
Calling next case, India Solomon LLC, trading as India Solomon, 1000 East Hoffman Street. There's a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, an application to transfer ownership.
Abraham Hurt on behalf of India Solomon, also known as India Solomon LLC. Here requesting a postponement.
Okay, why?
My client is just unavailable today. I did speak to her a couple days ago, and she said that today just unfortunately, she just can't make it. We were just looking for a postponement of 3 to 4 weeks, if that's possible, or,
Can we reset it, Mr. Akris?
We can.
wonderful.
Okay, case will be continued.
Thank you. Maybe excused?
Yes.
Thank you.
Calling the next case. Fisherman's Daughter LLC, trading as Sally O's, 3531 Gulf Street. This is a Class D application to transfer ownership of a Class D beer wine liquor license, continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service, requesting off-premise catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you very much. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant.
Good morning. Would you raise your right hand, ma'am, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Steve Fogelman, on behalf of Jesse Sandlin, we, as a resident of Southeast Baltimore, right next to Highlandtown, live in Canton. The address, the establishment 3531 Gulf Street, has been kind of a jewel over there on Conkling Street. Just a nice place. It serves decent food, good beer and wine. It gets kind of a crowd that's you don't see everywhere. It's old timers in the neighborhood and the young newcomers who blend together. So the former owner decided to finally sell after many years, Miss Cassidy, and she couldn't have found a better person to hand the keys over to. Jesse Sandlin, in addition to living just a few doors down the block from the bar on the same street, on the same side of the street, right?
6 doors down, yeah.
6 doors down, is an accomplished chef and very creative person, creative mind in the culinary arts. She was on the first season.
No, season 6.
Season 6, I'm getting old, of Top Chef. And she's won some awards, and she's has a lot of experience in the food industry. She's going to be alcohol certified. She will be serving the drinks. You always want to know who's going to be serving the drinks. You'll be serving the drinks. Your employees will be serving the drinks. And she's going to make sure everybody is alcohol certified. The neighborhood was really excited to hear that she was taking over because they were a little upset when they knew that the Laughing Pint was closing. So they went above and beyond. They wrote a letter in support. Nick Curley, the president of Highlandtown Community Association, saying that they're looking forward to Miss Sandlin coming to opening the business right there at that corner of Conkling and Gulf. But also, they were very supportive of, this is a 6-day license. They were very supportive of her being able to be open on Sundays for brunch with or without alcohol. We explained to her that she wasn't able to have a 7-day license unless she moves a 7-day license in there. And so she's not prepared to do that at this time. The residents went so far as to send a letter to Delegate Luke Clippinger, who actually introduced a bill to allow them to stay open on Sundays for food services only. So I was trying to figure out the proper procedure to make that happen. But after the hearing we just had, what I'd like to recommend in this case as well is that you approve the transfer, and then I will go ahead and send in a letter detailing, and I think that's something from the last case, you have to detail how you're going to lock up the liquor, how you're going to segregate the liquor from the seated dining customers. And so I'll send a letter, just like I will in the other case, and I'll send some kind of communication of support for the Sunday no alcohol brunch from the Highlandtown Community Association.
Okay, and Ms. Sandlin, you are an accomplished chef. Have you ever managed alcohol before?
Yes, so I've actually, in addition to running back of the house operations, I have, sort of general managed the entire restaurant at 2 different locations. One being the restaurant I just left, the Outpost in Federal Hill, and then before that it was Vino Rosina Oliver Specs in Harbor East, which is now defunct and turned into the Elk Rooms Cigar Club. But yeah, so I have extensive experience. I am currently tip certified, and 2 of the members of my staff who will be in charge predominantly of the front of the house operations are as well tip certified. And then we'll get the rest of the staff. It's going to be a small staff, so there'll only be maybe 2 more people who'll need to be certified. But the majority of us currently are valid in that, so.
What is your chef specialty?
I would say eclectic American, the idea being my grandmother is from the South, and so that's the kind of food that I grew up with, and I lean pretty heavily towards comfort food in general, but I also have an appreciation for kind of global ingredients and flavors, and, so I try to incorporate a lot of that into some just traditional comfort food and, some weird little spins on stuff, so.
And at this time, I'd like to introduce a sample menu. Thank you.
Thank you. The burnt carrots being the comfort food?
Something like that, yeah. This is, so the menu that I plan to have in place will be sort of changing according to seasonality and availability of certain things. So I want to work pretty closely with a lot of local farms and, produce as well as meats and things like that. In addition to, like I said, having some global influence. The previous ownership, Shannon Cassidy, had a lot of vegan items on her menu, so I want to incorporate some of that into the, kind of changing things as well, and, really hoping to kind of be like a cornerstone of growth in the Highlandtown community. I mean, like Steve said, I live literally 6 doors down from the property. I've been on that street for 4 years now, and before that, I was 2 streets over on Clinton. So I'm pretty invested in the neighborhood in general, and kind of really hoping to bring it into light and draw some people from outside of the Highlandtown neighborhood, other areas in Baltimore and the county, and encourage them to come see what we got going on down there.
Is
So
the Highlandtown Smash Burger your creation?
yes.
It's not a thing that existed before.
No, I mean, smash burgers are a thing, but this one in particular, no, this is mine.
The commissioners have questions?
None.
Any issues at Jokers and Thieves or any of the other, any liquor board related violations?
Nope. So
Okay.
Jokers and Thieves was bought and sold actually 5 years ago. I think it was back in 2015. So I, don't have any affiliation with that liquor license anymore. It's now Southern Provisions.
But during the time, you didn't have any?
Oh, no, absolutely
All
not.
right. Thank you.
No.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the testimony and proffers received, the letter from the Community Association in support, and the exhibit menu, I would vote to approve the transfer of ownership of the license with continued live entertainment, outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
I also vote to approve the transfer of ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table services. I also vote to approve the request for off-premise catering and the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
I vote to approve the transfer with the continuation of live entertainment, outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
I call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, letter of support from Highlandtown Community Association. Applicant Exhibit 2, menu.
What a smash
Moving next to Case 7, 2300 West Baltimore Street LLC, trading as Club 2300, 2300 West Baltimore Street, is a Class BD7 beer, wine, liquor license. A request to reopen under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 122203 when a licensed premise has been closed for at least 3 consecutive months.
Counsel?
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of 2300 West Baltimore Street, LLC.
Would you folks raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
So, Ms. Hurley, you wrote a letter to the board on February 11th requesting 180, well, you said it's been closed for 180 days, and you want the permit to reopen.
I think that letter said something on those lines. I believe we kind of dispute the timeline that they were closed, but the evidence that we have is not spectacular. We were here before the board, I think maybe 2 months ago, on violations. As the board may recall, this licensee was in the process of transferring it to a different licensee, and it's been just a tremendous fiasco. I think they had to file it 2 or 3 different times. In the end, the other licensee, or the other prospective licensee has left the premises, and we're just trying to get things in order, just trying to fix all the problems. I think as a result of the violation, they paid a significant fine. And again, that was under the watchful eye, I guess, of the prospective licensee, but certainly they're on the license, so they're responsible. They do have a letter from the community, which has 23 or 24 signatures on it in support, as well as a letter from the Fayette Street Outreach Group.
Do you want to offer it?
Yes, would you guys like to see it, or maybe just give it right to Stacy?
Let me just say it for a quick second. So this is the Fayette Street Outreach Group, right?
Correct.
Give our support. They're expecting you to engage them in community meetings, et cetera?
Yeah, my understanding from speaking with various parties in this is that the prospective licensee who was running this location did not do a good job, and the community was not thrilled with them, but the community in the past has been pretty pleased with how the actual current and soon to reopen, hopefully, licensee did run the facility.
So you had actually turned management over to the prospective licensee?
I believe there was a management agreement in place. I wasn't a part of the
and that didn't work out.
Process. Did not work out very well at all.
So when would it reopen?
I think they can you guys were, I believe they were suspended under the last, I can't recall, under the last violation. I think there was some tremendous issue. There wasn't a suspension, but there was a big fine. I think they could reopen, my guess is, more or less immediately. They would have to purchase inventory from a wholesaler, of course, and go from there.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
It looks like they were in before us on February 18th.
Correct, about a month ago.
Yeah, and we went through and they got fined. I think you're right, Mr. Hurdle. I don't see that we suspended them in any way. I don't know that
There would have been no benefit.
There would have
was the
been, right.
issue.
That's because they were
Unfortunately, that was
already,
the issue,
right.
with no benefit
Right.
for it, yeah.
But you did help raise some questions. So what, so it sounds like there's got to be some effort by Mr. Singh to rebuild the trust in the community, right? I mean, that to me seems, because I do remember this licensee and the number of issues, recognizing it was perhaps under a management agreement, it's still responsible. What efforts are we going to undertake to, we reopen, we don't want the same issues that have plagued this establishment to continue for the next year or so. So what are we going to do?
Having spoken with my client and knowing that, my understanding is that in the past, the community has been very receptive to their management style as opposed to the interim person. They do plan to be more active with the community group, go attend the meetings. I believe they're going to make sure that their contact info is always available to the community as well in case there is some sort of issue. I'm not sure about the board members. I've actually personally been in this space. It's been a couple of years when they were running it, and it was seemingly managed well. And my belief is that they're going to continue to do it in that fashion. I think the long-term plan here is to transfer it to his daughter as opposed to keeping it the way it is, who will continue to run it in a good fashion as well.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the request, the written request of February 11 for permission to reopen, proffers from council, and the exhibit received, which is a communication from the community organization in support with the understanding that you're going to work with them to try to resolve any outstanding issues, and with the admonition that there was a pretty bad occurrence last time, so if you were to come back with similar things, you won't be in business very long, so it's got to change. But I would vote to permit the reopening.
I also vote to approve the reopening after being closed for 90 days.
I vote to reopen.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Pardon me. There are two issues, just, Mr. Chair. First, just want to remind council and the applicants that there was a letter sent out by the Department of Housing and Community Development reminding that this location, which is a BD7 Tavern, to come into compliance with the new Baltimore City zoning code. And second, since the board has approved the request to reopen, just want to remind the applicant that before opening, they must provide the liquor board with a copy of the current trader's license, a city health permit if applicable, city use and occupancy permit if applicable, current sales tax license, and proof that the corporation is in good standing. You have 29 days before or after this hearing before your license expires on April 10th, 2020. I ask that you just please provide that information. I'm now handing a copy of the letter to you, Mr. Hurdle.
Okay, thank you.
Medical exhibits for the record. Licensee Exhibit 1, Fayette Street Outreach Letter of Support and Petition of Support. Thank you.
Calling the next case, A&D LLC, trading as Midtown Liquor Store, 17 West Biddle Street. There's a request for a hardship extension on the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-2202 for a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
Hey, Mr. Wold, sir, would you raise your right hand, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
So you wrote to the board, although the letter's not dated, but, oh, yes, it was, January 27th, saying that there was a fire.
Yeah.
And so what's the situation now?
It's in the process with the insurance company.
So you're going to try to transfer the license after that, or what? Or reopen, or what?
Reopen, hopefully.
Okay, so you're requesting 180 days, is that right?
Well, we might need more than that, to be honest.
Well, we don't have any authority beyond that, do we?
The applicant can only ask for up to 180 days, not to exceed 360.
Yeah, do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I have a question. What's going to happen if we don't open before?
I think that if you have any questions or concerns, I'll give you my card. You can call me after the hearing. We can
Okay.
discuss that matter.
Okay.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
None?
No questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Wald, on the basis of your letter to the board of January 27th requesting the hardship extension, the explanation you've given us this morning, I would vote to grant a 180-day hardship extension.
Thank you.
Also, vote
Appreciate
to approve the hardship extension for 180 days.
I too vote to approve the 180-day hardship extension.
Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you. I'm excused.
Calling the next case, Hazel Street LLC, trading as Sooners, 1600 Hazel Street. There's a request for a transfer hardship extension under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B for a Class BD7 beer, wine, liquor license.
Thank you very much. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant.
Good morning. You wrote to the board on January 31 requesting a 90-day hardship extension and because they need to pass inspections. Is that correct?
That is correct. And as I mentioned at that time, there's quite a bit of violent crime in that area and proximate to that bar. So they have gotten the cameras installed that are able to be viewed by BPD high def, and made some other changes at their request, like getting rid of some corners that would allow for blackout of any of the video footage. I did speak with the applicant this morning. There was a child care emergency. They asked that I come here today to let you know that all of their inspections are complete except with the health department. And so...
Which is kind of busy these days.
Yeah, exactly. That could become a real issue for that as well. So I'd ask for the extension. Thank you very much.
Commissioners have questions?
Did you say 90 or
90, that's what she asked. That's what he's
It's
asking.
the longest by law. I ask for everything I can get.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of your written request, Mr. Fogelman, of January 31, and your proffer before the board this morning, I would vote to approve a 90-day hardship extension.
I also vote to approve the request for transfer of hardship extension for 90 days.
I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
Thank you
Good
all.
luck.
Mr. Chair, if I may, 1600 Hazel Street was also sent a letter by the Department of Housing and Community Development just to ensure and remind council that it must come into compliance with Baltimore City zoning code.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any exhibits?
No exhibits.
Calling next case, this is Simone Cruz. It's a sole proprietorship trading as El Sombrero Dos, 3821 through 23 Eastern Avenue. There's a request for a transfer hardship extension under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages 12-1705B for a Class BD7 beer, wine, liquor license.
Abraham Hurl, on behalf of Simone Cruz.
So maybe this seems to be very similar. You wrote to the board on January, well, Mr. Kadensky did.
He
on
did.
January 29, requesting a 90-day hardship extension because of difficulties in obtaining clearances and permits. Is that the situation?
That's absolutely the situation.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
None.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of Mr. Kadensky's written request of January 29 and your proffer to the board this morning, I would vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
I also vote to approve a transfer hardship extension for 90 days.
I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
Good luck. Thanks.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
Calling the next case, Mico Molito Restaurant Incorporated, trading as Mico Molito, 2101 North Charles Street. This is a request for a transfer hardship extension under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B for a Class B beer wine liquor license.
Abraham Hurd on behalf of Mico Molito Restaurant, Inc.
So you wrote to the board on February 11th asking for a hearing to extend time to complete transfer of the license. So this license is, they're attempting to sell it?
Well, no. The current applicants are transferring it to new applicants, including Mr. Santana, who is with me. This is his translator. And Ms. Deerdorf is the other potential or applicant. We're just struggling to get some of the processes completed. I believe that the renewal is in process currently. And there's a couple of things Tom is working with me on, but yeah, we just need a little more time to.
We already allow the transfer?
Absolutely have already approved it.
Okay.
You guys said it was the best ever, I think, on the record.
That doesn't sound like me, but.
You seem very enthusiastic that day. The food's dynamite, by the way. Everyone should go. It's
Okay.
fantastic, really is.
So how much time are you asking for?
90 days.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
None.
No questions.
Okay. On the basis then of the written request dated February 11th and the proffer from Mr. Hurdle this morning, I would vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
I concur with the chair.
I vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
May be excused. Thank you.
Calling the next case, Brick Row Pub LLC, trading as Brick Row Pub, 901 South Clinton Street. This is a request for a transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1705B for a Class BD7 beer wine liquor license.
Thank you, Stephen W. Fogelman. On behalf of the applicant, Mr. Chris Seaborg, who's present.
We have your written request of February 18th for a 90-day hardship extension, trying to get the Health Department inspection.
Yes, and my understanding, is that your final inspection?
I need to
Oh, I'm
swear
sorry.
him, I'm sorry.
This is,
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do.
And your name, sir?
Chris Seaborg.
Good morning.
good morning. What inspections do you have left, other than building, which is a culmination?
Health and then building.
Okay. All right, we appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Anything?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of your written request of February 18th and your proffer and testimony this morning, I'd vote to approve a 90-day transfer hardship extension.
I also vote to approve the transfer hardship extension request for 90 days.
I vote to approve the 90-day transfer hardship extension.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you all.
No exhibits.
Mr. Chair, just one more item. 901 South Clinton Street, received a letter from the Department of Housing and Community Development reminding it that as a BD7 tavern in a non-conforming district, it must conform with Baltimore City zoning code.
Thank you. I will explain that outside. Thanks very much. Have a great morning, what's left of it.
Is that our morning docket, Mr. Akers?
Mr. Chair, that is our morning docket.
Okay, we're in recess till 1.
Board is in recess till 1 p.m.
Okay.
It's thicker square pizza. She told me earlier.
You didn't know?
I did not. I eat a lot of pizza, but I didn't know the
You've never
difference.
been to Naples and had pizza? Oh, my God.
Now's probably not the time, but sometime soon.
Now is not the time. Mr. Cross,
Yes.
you're
Yes,
here
sir.
for some reason to support.
I am here to support. We're very excited to have Mary Ann, the new establishment on Maryland Avenue. As you know, we've been working to bring in a number of new establishments on that corridor, and she's going to be a great addition to our neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners have any questions?
None.
And in terms of your servers and everybody else who's handling alcohol, it's going to be the same routine as you have at your other schools?
Yes,
Everybody will be certified and they'll understand our rules and regulations?
yes, 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 of course.
Okay.
Mr. Hurdle, do you have any of the receipts or evidence?
They
for-
haven't done any of the build-out yet. The lease was signed only recently, is my understanding. It's contingent upon this and zoning, is my belief. It's been Mr. Kadensky's matter, unfortunately. I'm filling in for him today. My understanding is after this is approved, they're going to go into kind of full-scale build-out.
Oh, tell me Mel's on vacation.
Mel is on vacation. He left this morning. Very reckless of him.
Where's he going?
Yeah.
North Carolina.
Oh, wrong direction.
Okay. So I assume that if we approve this, that it's contingent upon them meeting the thresholds?
Of course, the 250 and the 75 ideally, yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, proffers from council, testimony received, including the support from Mr. Cross, I would vote to approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with live entertainment.
I concur with the chair.
I vote to approve the new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with live entertainment.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No exhibits?
Thank you.
Recalling this morning's case, 1606 Whetstone Way, licensee LLC, trade name pending. 1606 Whetstone Way is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment, an outdoor table service, requesting off-premise catering for a Class B beer, wine, liquor license.
Council?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Joe Woolman. I represent the applicant. This is a transfer in name only.
Would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
So, Mr. Woolman, you say it's a transfer in name only, meaning?
Ms. Wheeler, who's standing to my right, will be the nominal licensee for this establishment. We've submitted to the board a corporate resolution authorizing her to be the nominal licensee. I have an outline I'll just submit for the record, which indicates we meet the standards for transfer found in Section 4-210A. For the transfer, with that, I'll submit. And Mr. Algaze is standing to my right. He is the actual manager from Iron Rooster. This is one of, how many locations do you have? Four Iron Rooster locations. This one is in McHenry Row in South Baltimore. He certainly can answer any questions you have regarding the operation.
But nothing else is changing?
Nothing else is changing.
And there's no history of violations or anything?
No, there's not.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you. This will be received. On the basis, then, of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from council, the exhibit, and any testimony received, I'd vote to approve the transfer ownership with continued live entertainment, outdoor table service, and off-premise catering.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I concur with the chair.
I vote to approve the transfer of ownership with continuation of live entertainment, outdoor table service, and off-premise catering.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I call exhibits for the record. Applicant exhibit, business plan.
Mr. Woolman? Mr. Woolman?
You're welcome.
Calling the next case. Be a Neighbor LLC, trading as Erdman Liquors, 3931 Erdman Avenue. There's an application to transfer ownership of a Class A beer, wine, liquor license.
Council?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. J.U. representing the applicants.
Good afternoon. Would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
So, Mr. Yu, this is a liquor store, is that correct?
Yes, it is a Class A request for transfer. This is a location of 3931 Orman Avenue. It's located within that Orman Shopping Center. Mr. Kong is the the managing member, and Ms. Huang will be the resident agent licensee. Mr. Kong and Mrs. Huang are both persons of good moral character. They have no criminal record whatsoever, no serious traffic violations. This location has an excellent record. They have no prior history of violation, to my knowledge. I believe Mr. Kong qualifies as a.
Does he have experience in
Yes, he
managing a
does.
liquor store?
He is working for an accounting firm right now, and he has been for how long?
12 years.
But so,
So you think that alcohol's better than accounting? Tax season anyway?
but his aunt owns a liquor store, 101 Liquors.
Yes.
And he has been helping her out for the past 10 years, on and off, so he has plenty of experience.
So you're familiar with our rules and regulations?
Yes.
And are you tip certified?
Yes, he is certified.
And is he going to be the only one handling the alcohol?
He will be having 2 employees at the premises.
And you will manage them and make sure they're certified as well? Okay, commissioners?
Nothing?
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application that proffers from council and testimony received, I'd vote to approve the application to transfer ownership.
I also vote to approve the transfer of ownership.
I vote to approve the transfer of ownership.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No exhibits?
Call the next case, 517 Broadway LLC, trading as Main Street Bar and Liquors, Dos Mundos Bar and Lounge, 3724 Eastern Avenue. This is an application to transfer ownership of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Council?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Craig Schwartz on behalf of the applicants.
Good afternoon. Would the folks raise their right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do.
Mr. Schwartz?
Thank you. Before the board is a transfer application of 517 Broadway LLC, trading as Main Street Bar and Liquor and Dos Mundos Bar and Lounge. With me today are the applicants. I have Joshua Patel, Ganga Adhikari, and Ram KC in the center here, who are available to testify, but for efficiency, I would, by way of proffer, indicate that 517 Broadway LLC currently has a contract to purchase the business located at 3724 Eastern Avenue. In accordance with the Baltimore City Liquor Board rules and regulations, Mr. Patel and Mr. Adhikari are both authorized persons on behalf of the LLC to hold the liquor license on behalf of the LLC. Mr. Patel is a 50% owner of the LLC, and Mr. Adhikari is the other 50% owner. Mr. Casey is the Baltimore City resident, and he is a registered voter and taxpayer and has resided in Baltimore City for the past 19 years. Mr. Casey is or was on the license for Sweet Carolina Liquors located at 309 South Broadway. My understanding is that a substitute application has been filed for that location to remove Mr. Casey from the license and to replace him with a substitute licensee. As a result, this application and the approval will be contingent on Mr. Casey being removed from that other license.
And who's going to manage the alcohol at this packaged goods store?
That would be both Mr. Patel and Mr. Adhikari. Mr. Patel has experience with a family-owned liquor store that was in Essex, Maryland back in 2015, and Mr. Adhikari also has experience serving alcoholic beverages. He was the owner of Harvey's Pub in Essex.
And will they be hiring others as well?
They will be hiring others as well. They are both tip certified, and they do intend to have other employees that are going to be handling alcoholic beverages to be certified as well.
Okay. And this particular location has a clean record?
To my knowledge, it does. They have no plans on making any changes, and they met with the Highlandtown Community Association, who has just recently, it may not be in your file, issued a letter dated March 8th, 2020, which I would submit for inclusion in the file with your permission.
And is this in support?
This is in support, and it does include an MOU.
Thank you.
Okay.
Which was signed by both of the principal applicants.
Okay, and they're willing to have the terms of this be a condition of their license?
They are.
Anything further?
Nothing further.
Commissioners?
I just see a documentation here saying the state of Maryland had a tax hold on this back in January 28th, 2020. Has that been cleared up?
I do not believe it has, but it will be for settlement.
And it must be before the completion of the transfer.
Yes. That would be, right, we would not settle until the license is ready to transfer, so we understand that that is a condition of transfer.
Anything else? Anything?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. So, Mr. Schwartz, this is a license that has a pretty checkered past, a number of sales to minors throughout the last few years. I say that to obviously warn the applicant that clearly there's something going on here and should be remain very vigilant. But what, since sales to minors seems to be a theme amongst a couple of other charges in the past, we want to avoid that happening in the future. What steps are you going to take to ensure that you don't face these similar violations?
Yeah, sure. First, thanks for having me. The steps we're going to take, we're going to have mandatory ID check upon entry. So that's both for the store and the bar. We're going to make sure that all of the staff, right now, we don't own the business, so we don't have any, but all the staff we do hire receives alcohol training before their start date. We plan on having security for, in the MOU for when it does reach a certain number, or expect to reach a certain number, who will also help us with the ID process. And we want it to be as thorough as possible. We don't want to see you guys too often. So
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I strongly encourage you to
Really
be aware
do that,
and take a look at some of the, in the record, some of the violations that this license has had, so it gives you a sense of what you should be addressing.
Sure.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Then, on the basis of the materials contained in the application, proffers from counsel, testimony received, and the exhibit, which is a memorandum of understanding between the applicants and the Highlandtown Community Association, I'd vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of the license subject to the terms of the MOU to the extent they're enforceable by law.
I also vote to approve the application for transfer of ownership, subject to the MOU.
I vote to approve the transfer of ownership subject to the terms of the MOU to the extent they're enforceable by law.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, MOU.
Calling the next case, Gus's Sports Bar Incorporated, trading as Gus's Sports Bar, 501 South Lehigh Street. This is an application to transfer ownership of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Gus's Sports Bar. With me is Mr. Gustavo.
Good afternoon. Would you raise your right hand, sir, please?
You swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. So, Mr. Hurdle.
This is a simple situation. Mr. Alacron, he applied in, I think, a couple months ago, but the issue is he applied everything individually. He didn't have a corporation set up. He just did it a way we probably wouldn't encourage. So we're here back again asking for the exact same transfer, except this time to Gus's Sports Bar, Inc.
And we had approved it previously?
That's my understanding, correct? Yeah.
Yes. It was heard and approved by the board in
The only
2019.
change is you're substituting the corporate entity.
But they have a better attorney this time.
Okay. I don't know if you had it last time, but so no comment on that. You have any questions?
None.
No questions.
Okay, thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the application and the proffers from counsel, I'd vote to approve the transfer.
I concur with the chair.
I vote to approve the transfer.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
Mr. Chair, if I may,
Yes.
just to give notice to the attorney, 501 South Lehigh Street received a letter from Department of Housing and Community Development informing the owner of the property that the tavern must come into compliance with Baltimore City zoning code. Calling the next case, Frank's Bay Tavern LLC, trading as Frank's Bay Tavern. There's an application to transfer ownership of a Class BD7 beer, wine, liquor license located at 4507 Pennington Avenue.
Don't move.
Steve Fogelman on behalf of the applicants.
Good afternoon. Would you raise your right hands, please?
you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you very much. Stephen W. Fogelman here with Frank Sapushik and Mrs. Sapushik. And Jason Blair, the city resident, is your nephew, isn't that
Yes.
right? He is not able to come today because of work. He will obviously be fingerprinted, et cetera. Mr. Sapushik is a retired Baltimore City police officer, 33 years, 23 years?
Not 20.
Just 20. Wow, that's nothing. So, in that time, he's seen a little bit of everything in Baltimore City, and he is intimately familiar with the neighborhood and location on Pennington Avenue where the Bay Tavern is. I visited the Bay Tavern. I want to say it was New Year's Day or somewhere around that time. Yeah, and what a wonderful place. I mean, really one of the last old school dive bars in Baltimore City. You've got food, you've got a great crowd. It's an older crowd, but it's a crowd in a good mood there to watch sports, and it's a pretty place. And obviously it was around Christmas and New Year's at the time. Frank and his wife have already gotten their feet wet at the tavern, running it over the last few weeks, and they have made some cosmetic changes, but not much to it. He is blessed because there is a police presence, as I mentioned with another bar on the morning docket that's in 1600 Hazel. There is, some crime in the neighborhood, but Mr. Sapushik understands exactly what is going on at all times, and he also obviously has great communications with the local officers of the Southern District who patrol through there on a regular basis. Mr. Sapushik is serving alcohol. He will be alcohol management certified, I believe, as will Mrs. Sapushik. And if you have any questions, he'll be happy to answer. He's having a health issue with his foot today, so he was going to ask me to ask you for a postponement, but I explained to him that April is coming, and it might be a while before we get back here, so his wife was kind enough to get him down here today. Thank you.
And will it just be the two of you handling alcohol, or are you going to hire others?
We will be hiring others.
And you'll make sure they're trained and properly certified? Okay. Questions?
None?
I see a restriction on the license. I don't know if you're familiar with this. I just want to make sure. It says there's to be no separate packaged goods store or department. I assume that's.
Yeah, and a lot of that, I've seen that one a lot on other licenses,
Yeah.
but you understand what that means. You can't make a little liquor store in the bar. You can certainly sell six-packs and other liquor to go over the bar, but you can't have a separate packaged goods
Says
section.
all packaged goods to be sold over the bar, and then it has someone who is barred from the premises in any capacity.
And those, I got to tell you, because I researched history when I was on the board, some of those guys have been dead for 40 and 50 and 60 years, but they live forever on the list.
Come back.
Exactly.
I'd be out if they did come back.
So what's the name of that person? Those things usually carry over to the next license as well.
Jason Cantor.
So Jason Cantor, keep an eye out.
And for what it's worth, we don't see that too often, but I thought that was interesting, and just for you to be aware.
The older places. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from counsel and testimony received, I vote to approve the transfer of ownership.
I also vote to approve the transfer of ownership.
I vote to approve the transfer.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No exhibits.
Call the next case, Cello Verde LLC, trading as Cello Verde, 800 Key Highway. This is an application transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service for Class B beer, wine, liquor license.
Afternoon, Justin Williams, on behalf of the applicant.
Good afternoon. Would you raise your right hand, sir, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Williams?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. We were here, I think, February 14th, 13th, with Cielo Verde. They are seeking a license at the American Visionary Art Museum, and the board approved the reopening of the establishment with Cielo Verde working under a management agreement. They haven't opened yet and haven't operated on it, so this would be the second hearing to officially transfer the license from the former operator, which was Encantada, to Cielo Verde. So nothing really has changed since that last presentation in February. Mr. Demshak's here, he's a licensee, and he runs with his wife, Alma Casino Latina in Canton. He's very successful and well received. The manager of Cielo Verde will be Paul Sanchez, who couldn't be here today due to a conflict, but has 10 years of experience, and there's a letter of support from the local community association that I apologize to Mr. Akris for sending late last night, and I owe him some hand sanitizer, so I apologize. But so let us know if you have any questions.
Okay, and Mr. Demchek, you are certified?
No, but our bar manager
Oh,
is
okay.
Paul Sanchez.
Okay. And anybody who works handling the alcohol will be as
Will
well?
also be.
Okay. Questions?
You haven't had any problems at Alma Casino?
I'm sorry?
You haven't had any liquor violations? I didn't think so. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from council, testimony, and the exhibits received, including a letter of support from the Covington Homeowners Association, I'd vote to approve the transfer of ownership with continued outdoor table service.
I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table services.
I vote to approve the transfer with the continuation of outdoor table service.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, letter of support from Covington Home Owner Association. Applicant Exhibit 1, business plan.
Calling the next case, PPI Tavern Incorporated, trading as PPI Bar, 500 South Lehigh Street, is amended application to transfer ownership of a Class BD7 Beer 1 liquor license.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
State your name for the record, Mr. Harvey.
Okay, thank you. For the record, Sean Harvey, 309 South Conkling Street, Baltimore 21224, for the applicant, PPI Tavern, Inc.
Would you folks raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
As Mr. Akers stated, this is an amended application. We were before the board in 2019, and the board approved the transfer. There have been a few changes. One of them is the name of the corporation. It's now PPI Tavern, Inc., rather than PPI Bar, Inc. And the other is, well, another change is that they completely remodeled this tavern. It looks beautiful. I was there a few times. It has not increased the floor space, however, as would be required to report to the board, but it looks great inside. And there's going to be a new manager. Her name is Misha Dovai, and she's present here and just was sworn in.
Is she certified?
She has been certified, so is Mr. Villalobos, who will be the majority owner, 95% owner of the corporation. The 5% owner and city resident, Mr. Harrison, is not able to be here today. I understand he had a medical emergency, but he was also approved prior.
And anybody who handles alcohol will be trained properly? Okay.
And also, just for the record, Mr. Wilson, Paul Wilson, is present. He was here the last time representing the Greater Greektown Community Association. He still is a member of that association, but he's no longer a board member, but he is a property owner in the same general area.
And here in support, correct? Thank you. Commissioners have questions?
None.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from council and testimony, I vote to approve the amended application to transfer ownership.
I concur with the chair.
I vote to approve the amended application to transfer ownership.
Thank you.
All exhibits.
Calling the next case, G5 USA LLC, trading as Gruner's Market, 101 through 03 North Monastery Street, is an application to transfer ownership of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
All right, thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicants.
Good afternoon. Would you raise your right hands, please?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Thank you very much. Applicants Jasmine Sakia is to my right and Vivian Harris is to his right. This is a small grocery store market with liquor sales, an A license, not open on Sunday for alcohol. And Mr. Sakia is new to the alcohol business. He's always wanted to run a retail outlet, and this is his opportunity. He's engaged some the help of Ms. Harris, who has been the city resident on this license apparently for several years prior to now. So she's currently on this license, and that's the only license she's ever been on. She lives in the neighborhood on North Culver Street. She knows the area, and she'll be able to be eyes and ears if there's anything going on outside or around the corner that would be deleterious to the business or to the community. Mr. Sakia will be the full-time operator of the establishment. He has previously been TIPS certified, and I'll give you a copy of that right now. Unfortunately, today's the day of one copy for me. Thanks. And ask that be admitted. Mr. Sakia will be primarily selling alcohol. I've explained to him, and he's familiarized himself with the rules and regulations of the Baltimore City Liquor Board, to wit, underage drinking, serving inebriated customers, and/or operating after hours.
And if you hire anybody else, you make sure that they're properly trained as well? Okay. Questions?
No questions.
No questions. All right, thank you. On the basis then, the materials contained in the application, the proffers from council, and the testimony received, I'd vote to approve the application to transfer ownership.
I also vote to approve the application for transfer of ownership.
I vote to approve the transfer of ownership.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, alcohol awareness certification.
Calling the next case, D&D Arque LLC, trading as the Twins, 4020 East Lombard Street. It's an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment for a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicants.
Folks, raise your right hands, please.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you very much. Kara Arce is to my right, and to her right is Daniel Arce. They are husband and wife. I have several copies of an MOU executed between the applicants and the Highlandtown Community Association that I'd like to present to the board at this time. May I present the original to Ms. Russell for the file, and I'll present the commissioners and chair with copies.
Stacy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so after working with them with Miss Sandlin's restaurant today, we're kind enough. Do you need one more?
Not really.
Okay, all right. Kind enough to sit down with us with this establishment as well. This establishment, unlike the one on Gulf Street, it's had some issues before the board over the years. It's not a stranger. I remember back in the day, there were just certain addresses. You just heard them more often than others, and so sometimes, quite frankly, they didn't leave a great taste in your mouth, just the mention of the address. So Mr. Arce is basically believes that many of the systemic issues that made this bar a frequent flyer to the liquor board have been eliminated. You may remember, and I see you're circling, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, you may remember personally some of them. Some of you may need to refresh your recollection. But several $1,000s in fines for trash, for example. They've found a way to fix that problem, and it was worse than they thought, and it's because of the fact that that a lot of these waste disposal companies, they don't come every day, so they literally have a truck dedicated now to removing the trash from the premises each and every night at closing. They are putting more security guards on duty because you may remember they had some issues in the parking lot. So this is a bit of a leap of faith for the Highlandtown Community Association to enter into this agreement with them, and I sincerely believe that they're trying to turn a new page for this location, and I'd ask that you consider the transfer of the license.
Terms of the MOU be conditional on the license?
Indeed. Thank you, Your Honor.
And are they certified themselves?
No, but they will be.
Okay. And anybody else that's going to be working there?
Yes, they will have employees, and they will be TIP certified as well.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
None.
No questions.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from counsel, testimony received, and the exhibits, including a memorandum of understanding between the applicants and the Highlandtown Community Association, I would vote to approve the transfer of ownership with continued live entertainment, subject to the terms of the MOU to the extent enforceable by law.
I concur with the chair.
I vote to approve the transfer of ownership with continuation of live entertainment, subject to the terms of the MOU to the extent they're enforceable by law.
Good luck.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it.
May you get a raise, Commissioner Jones.
Like that guy. Like that guy.
Medical exhibit for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, MOU.
Calling the next case, Oven Bird Bakery LLC, trading as Oven Bird Bakery, 300 South Exeter Street. There's an application to transfer ownership and request for Sunday food sales under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-2007B1, small triple I, a Class D beer, wine, liquor license.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Previs on behalf of the applicant, Kyler Keel, who is to my right.
Raise your right hand, sir, please.
Swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. And for the record, my name's Keeler Kyle. Just
I'm
it's
sorry.
a
Did I
crazy name.
just-
Yeah, it's alliterative, I will give you that, but.
And we have a typo, me, on his first name is K-E-I. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, you really messed this one up, Mr. Freeman.
Oh, really? It's just,
So
the
tell
I's
us
and
about
E's
him.
are just, it's got me all over the place. Okay, this is an application for transfer of 300 South Exeter Street. The landlord's prior owners were here about a year ago with regard to this Class D 6-day license. They bought the building and transferred the license into their name, and that transfer went through around last March or April. Mr. Keel. Kyle.
Yeah.
God, how long have I been doing that to you? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Had entered into a lease. He is, his passion is baking, and he plans on having a bakery. He has a menu here, and he plans to be open on currently 6 days a week, but possibly on Mondays as well, 7 to 3. So it's a breakfast, lunch.
And what do people drink with their baked goods?
The intention is to have beer and wine associated with our meals. We also plan to kind of have a more of a brunch type of setup as well on the weekends. So there would be some, we'll say, like liquor type drinks involved with that. We'll be doing essentially breakfast, lunch, and loaves, and so it's kind of a sandwich place as well. So that the alcohol will be associated with actual meals. It won't be so much a bar, but rather more of a restaurant.
Okay.
And if I could equate this proposal to an existing place, would be Amber down in Anthem House, which the owner of that establishment worked for Panera for many, many, many years, and so he has, I call it a Panera on steroids. Baking, the focus being baking, but also having the ability to serve alcohol.
And Mr. Kyle, are you tip certified?
I'm actually becoming tip certified, yes, with Jimmy Philippides.
He has his appointment. He hasn't taken the class, but it's scheduled.
Will there be others working for you handling alcohol?
Yes, sir.
And you'll have them trained?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Plans are, he's going to be there full-time. He's going to probably have 6 part-time employees, three at a time. And he'll make sure that they all get alcohol certified.
And the Sunday brunch will be without alcohol, is that correct?
Yes, we're calling it a Virgin Sunday brunch because the church is down the street. So
There is a church down the street, and people come there for brunch afterwards?
yeah, that's the intention.
I see.
And just I asked him about his menu being in Little Italy. Is the baking Italian focused? And he's actually, his wife is Turkish, and a lot of his recipes he's learned from his mother-in-law. So it sounds like a really interesting idea.
Yes.
And another interesting fun fact is I asked him, he's originally from upstate New York, and he's been here about 5 years. His wife's a cancer researcher at University of Maryland. And I asked him where he's from, and he said, you never heard of it. And he said, Auburn, New York. I said, I know Auburn, New York. H&S Bakery has a McDonald's hamburger roll plant in Auburn, New York, which we looked up, and it's now been sold to Stroman's Bakery. But
What's the
exactly
cross
where he
street
lived.
with Exeter where you are?
It's Fawn and Exeter.
Is that the old Poggi's go back to
Drugstore?
drugstore?
No, this was Muggs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, originally Muggs Cafe and Bistro, for many years.
Okay. My grandfather lived right up the street.
Yeah.
For a very long time. Okay.
Oh, the other part of this was, sorry. This part has to be on the record, though.
I mean, if you're losing
Tell 'em.
Commissioner Jones, this show might be over.
I have a Melchizedek joke to tell now. The other thing that I put on the application is the exemption to be open on Sundays without the service of alcohol, which I've named the Matthews Pizza exemption.
So we're familiar with it.
I think that it really only applies to the hours and not to the Sundays, but we would like to ask for it. That way we're covered. That way somebody down the road that didn't know about this conversation said, you're not allowed to be open on Sundays for any reason, that we're covered.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
None.
No question.
All right, thank you. On the basis of the
Thank
materials contained in the application, the proffers from council, testimony received, and exhibits received, I would vote to approve the transfer of the license and request for Sunday food sales under the alcoholic beverages provision 12-2007.
I concur with the chair.
I vote to approve the transfer of ownership and grant the request for Sunday food sales under the provisions of the alcohol beverage article 12-2007B1 3 little I.
Thank you so
Good luck.
much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right, call exhibits for the record. Applicant Exhibit 1, menu.
Take this one.
Calling next case, Baltimore Cannery LLC, trade name pending, 2300 Boston Street. There's an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and requesting off-premise catering for a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Baltimore Cannery LLC.
Please raise your right hands.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay, Mr. Hurdle?
This is an in-location transfer. It'll be to a new business operating under a new concept at the location of 2300 Boston Street. Mr. Corey Lobb, who is with me, is an experienced operator, and Amanda Maloney is going to be helping out. She is the city resident at this time.
And you say he's doing this now? Or what is
He
the
has
thing?
experience in the industry. He is not, I don't think he's currently working, currently running a restaurant in its entirety at the moment.
No,
You have, though.
Yeah, it was the operator of Corlium that was operating in the Jatan spot, but then we weren't able to come to an amicable lease, so then I made arrangements with the other partners in this group to move here.
And you're tip certified?
Am.
Okay. And anybody who works on alcohol will be trained?
Yes, our front of house manager will be one of our partners, and he is as well, but he's on a different liquor license.
Okay. And otherwise, everything's as set forth here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, commissioners have questions?
None.
Just what's the live entertainment?
We are asking for a continuation of it, but we want the ability to do it every once in a while, but it's not going to be a regular occurrence.
DJ, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation where it becomes a huge hassle to get it back if we don't do it. Right now, there are no real formal plans to have live entertainment. It's something that we
I think
do plan to
Commissioner
have.
was just asking what type of
Yeah.
entertainment.
Small
What would you,
bands.
yeah, what would you
Like
have in mind?
Small bands, acoustic.
Okay.
Just for kind of private parties and.
Sorry.
I understand you don't know yet, but it's easier to have it instead of having to come back and.
Correct. And
Understood.
the other partner and myself have both been involved in the Canton area for many, many years. So we're.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffers from council, and testimony received, I'd vote to approve the transfer of the license with continued live entertainment and off-premise catering.
I also vote to approve the transfer of ownership with the continuation of live entertainment and request for off-premise catering.
I vote to approve the transfer of ownership with the continuation of live entertainment and off-premise catering.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. We have you excused.
Is that our docket, Mr. Acker?
That concludes our docket, our afternoon docket, sir.
Thank you.
Board will be in recess until March 26th at 10 a.m.
Remember, Larry, earlier next